Hello, everybody. My name is WizThrift, also known as Colton by my, real life stuff. I am here today with another creator interview. I am interviewing for the second time, and I'm very excited to be here with Trevor. Trevor, can you give your little introduction of yourself?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for letting me come back again. I'm super
Hmm.
excited. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Trevor. I'm the author and creator, designer, marketer, everything for Veil of the Void, Reforged, as it's known, which is it's the sci-fi fantasy tabletop role-playing game that I've been designing for some 18 years, almost going on 19 soon.
Wow.
Man, I feel old. But yeah, I've been designing this and I love sharing it with everybody. It was so much fun to talk with you about it because you got all excited about it. So glad I'm able to come back and talk
Yeah.
more about this game that's pretty awesome if you ask me.
Yeah. From what I've seen, it is really awesome. So. Okay. Well, so you finished your book. You have it
Yes.
printed. You've talked about how beautiful it is. It looks amazing. What is oh my gosh. Yes, show it off. Show off some of the art. Show it off, please.
So this is the book. It's absolutely beautiful. Everything from the cover looks so good. It's all nice and shiny. It's
Dang.
got some of my it's got full page artwork pieces now that take up the whole book. Oh man, there was a can't tell I'm a little proud.
Yeah, you're smiling a lot, so I think it
Yeah,
makes
it
sense.
especially because all the chapters now have like a full 2 page artwork spread.
Oh, that is
So
gorgeous right there.
and it
Dang.
looks so good printed too. Oh
I'm sure. Do you have a favorite like art piece of art that you maybe put your the most heart and soul into?
man, that's a good question because my artist, one of the things I love about my art is my artist that I work with, I believe in giving my artist freedom
Yeah.
because there's a lot of times because I know a lot of artists because I
Hmm.
commission a lot of artists
Yeah.
where they don't get to have as much fun with it and do what they like. And like our company motto here is this is going to be fun. So that needs to be everything.
Yeah.
And so my artist, I give him the basic idea of the universe and what the idea is. And I say, so here's kind of what I'm looking for, have at it. And he just makes some of the most beautiful stuff. I don't know how he manages to bring my universe to life as
Yeah.
well as he does, but my goodness, he does. Which is why I spent most of the money on all the artwork.
Yeah.
But as far as favorite art pieces, like I don't know. That's such a hard question because we have like 60 or something in the book now,
Wow.
which is like 30 more or 20 more than we had last time.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I'm trying to think of what's my favorite. 'Cause I don't know if I even have one. Actually, you know what I like? I
Yeah.
know what my
I
favorite one
I
is.
I, I knew you did. I knew you did.
I almost forgot about it, but my favorite picture is actually at the very end of the book,
Okay.
and it's the last page, and it's I got all of the character arts done for the very first alpha group, the one
Okay.
that play tested with me from the very beginning for about 2 years.
Wow.
So they're all in the back of the book, and it says like with love from the Pondering Infinity crew, and it
Hmm.
has our like logo at the bottom and our motto and everything. And that's my favorite picture, just because when I see every person on there, I'm like, oh yeah, that's my friend, and that's him, and I
Yeah.
know them, and
That's
and they
awesome.
really loved seeing their characters at the end of the book like forever immortalized.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
actually do that with every group that I host
Really.
um, for the next few releases because there's only a few special groups that I host for every now
Hmm.
and then. And so for each expansion, I'm going to have their character arts in the next expansion just because I like to include my friends.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Dang. Yeah, I there's something special about, bringing these people together
Mm-hmm.
and completing something and I think a lot of people because I've been working with trying to create TTRPGs and board
Yeah.
games and I don't think people realize how important just the play testing is. Them
Mm-hmm.
sacrificing their
Mm-hmm.
time for you is like
Yeah.
it's big.
Oh, it's
So,
huge, and it. that's one of the biggest thing of tabletop games in general is like you
Hmm.
need to test it, and you need to get as many tests as you can out
Yeah.
there with as many different eyes, not just because you want more people to see it and that they might catch things. You want their ideas and their imagination,
Yep.
and you want the people that are gonna break the game as quickly as possible because that's how you figure out how to fix it. To which
Yep.
they then come back to you like, "You nerfed my character." I'm like,
How,
"Well,
yeah, how dare you
yeah,
fix the thing that I broke?
your combat medic was able to store 200 HP and deal 400 instantly to something that might have been a little overpowered. I'm
Hey,
just saying."
your famous words from the last interview, just bring in a person who can reflect it.
That's true. But see, I also don't believe in instantly killing someone. So the fact that he
Yeah.
could kill himself and then kill the entire party instantaneously with the area of effect spell, it's like a little bit of
Yeah.
balance. I'm all about insanity. And the book in the GM section, especially now, I added like a whole 20 pages to the GM book
Wow.
with all sorts of new guides and steps. And I added like a whole 2 pages of like how to make backstories for characters now.
Wow.
So it'll also be as a PDF printout I have on my website, so you can give them to your players. And then as a
Oh,
GM, you'll have all the information and you can keep everybody's backstory in track.
that's
It'd
nice.
also be very helpful for like new players and
Yeah.
such. But
Yeah.
the biggest section I have up back there is "Beautifully Broken" is the title because
Very nice.
Veil of the Void, like all tabletop games, it does have its moments of being horribly broken.
Mhm.
But within those sections, it tells you here's how you counter that. And it's
Nice.
good to remember that anytime you give a player something, you can also give that to a monster. So,
Yep. Yep.
yep.
Yeah, that's one thing when I talk to my players, and me, I'm mainly Dungeons and Dragons, but I talk to my players, I'm like, guys, I have this really cool critical hit mechanic. I'm
Mm-hmm.
giving it to you. They're like, yay, yay, this is awesome. Just so you know, the NPCs and monsters also
Yep.
can do that. They're like,
Ah,
oh, okay. And they're like, we'll take it, but just yeah, okay, we'll take it. Yeah.
we'll take it, but we don't have to be happy about
Yeah,
it.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, that's like the same thing with my all my players and stuff. They love the critical table because they have
Yeah,
that chance of instantly killing a average level or dealing some decent damage to player or to bosses. But
yeah.
then they forget that when the adversaries critically hit against them, they also get that chart
Mm-hmm.
where that
Mm-hmm.
adversaries can also apply conditions, and conditions are brutal and Veil the Void. So
Yeah, yeah.
balance.
Yeah,
That's all things should be.
balance. Yep. I exactly, exactly. Yeah, I love that philosophy of beautifully broken.
Yep.
I think it works extremely well for everything that I've heard and seen about Veil of the Void.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely yep, it's like I describe it on the back. Everything inside this book works together in a beautiful, chaotic symphony. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it all comes together somehow.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. So, what do you think from finishing this and it's in your hands? That's got to be amazing. It,
Oh,
it's in your hands. So, what do you think is the thing that you're most proud of from creating Veil of the Void and Veil of the Void Reforged?
you know, so it's kind of like I think it's just all encompassing. Like the moment I got Reforged, because don't get me wrong, I was so proud of the first edition,
Yeah.
but I didn't know anything going into it. I literally did all the designing, everything by myself, and I did it all on Word. So this time I actually got a page layout system and I
Okay.
went through it all and I examined more about inclusivity to
Gotcha.
make the pages easier to read, to make all the backgrounds easier to read for people, to remove kind of things that would affect color blinds. I went through and did a lot of that sort of stuff. I also took everybody's feedback from the first edition and implemented it into this book. I added extra books, and so I'm super proud of just the reforged edition
Yeah.
because it brought Veil the Void to what I wanted it to be originally
Hmm.
through teaching myself skills and learning from other people and figuring out how to do better writing and all that good stuff. So I'm just when I see this book and how beautiful it looks just on the cover,
Hmm.
I'm like, you know what? I did this. This is how I
Yeah.
want it to be. I never have to update it again because this is what I wanted.
Yeah. I mean, and after 5+ years of playtesting,
Mhm.
you definitely have something there.
Yes,
That's yeah.
it's oddly enough balanced enough.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, okay, like it doesn't matter how much you play. There's gonna be
Yeah.
people who find things and who find ways to break
Oh
the
yeah.
game and find ways to nitpick and hurt the game, or whatever. But I think it's amazing how much you personally have done your philosophy of fun, and just turning it into this game where you really can do anything.
hmm And that's exactly it too. A philosophy of fun. That's like what went into this. And even when it's, I mean, you're never gonna fix a tabletop game. You always have to accept that. Like every tabletop game is broken.
Yeah,
Uh, but that's kind of fun of it too, because I love seeing when my players break something and I'm like, ah, okay.
yeah,
I didn't think that would happen, but hey, that's fun.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm
Well, I
also the
mean.
kind of GM that rarely ever says no to stuff.
Hmm.
So when chaos
Hmm.
happens, I'm like, yes, let's see how much we can break this.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a GM who rarely says no.
hmm I like to see what all gets broken.
Hmm.
Which is I did during this last year. I hosted an additional 31 shots and gave it out to even more people. And because
Wow.
the first edition was out, all these new GMs came in and got to use the first edition, and they all gave me feedback. So I was able to like fix a lot of the issues. I was also to clarify, like pretty much what I did with Reforged is I made it look better.
Okay.
Uh, I reorganized it. I split the incredibly long chapter two into chapter two and chapter three.
Oh.
And most every time that you play this game, you're only going to need chapter two and you're done.
Oh.
And chapter two is only a few pages. And chapter two has a handy dandy little chapter content guide at the beginning that tells you where each little page is, and
Nice.
where each rule is and which ones are critical rules and which ones aren't. And
Yeah.
uh, I spent a huge amount of time reorganizing, redesigning, and bringing it up to kind of where I wanted it to be. And it looks
Yeah.
super professional now. And
Yeah.
it's so beautifully organized. It met what I wanted it to be. So
That's good. That's really good. Yeah. You never want to invest that much time and money and time into something that's not going to
mm,
be what you want it to be. So that's
exactly, yeah.
that's great that it's finally your vision and like what you wanted it to
Yes.
be.
Finally, I'm
Yeah.
so glad and grateful. And now I'm doing all the shipping myself, which
Oh,
is
okay.
going to be a lot of extra work, but I will be making more money from it, which I can then use to, actually hopefully one day do Veil of the Void as my full time job.
Yeah.
But I also get to inspect every book before I send it to someone to make sure that
Nice.
it's high quality, because the company that I used once, they sent some that were not high quality to the group, and
Oh,
I don't like that. So
yeah.
I wanted to make sure I could personally inspect every book before I sent it. So
That's dang.
I, I value people.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really fantastic that you're so passionate about this that you're willing to look at every single book.
hmm
Wow.
Got to. I want to make sure you
Yeah.
all get what I'm proud to
Yeah.
have you guys get. So, especially
When
with the spell cards too. So
yes, when is it available for order? Is it available right now?
it is, yeah. It's
Oh, okay.
actually on my reworked website.
Okay.
It's on there for the 55 with free shipping in the United States. It usually gets to people within 3 to 7 business days,
Okay.
as long as you don't order it late Friday night, because
Yeah.
then it takes
Yeah.
me a little to get it there. But
Nice.
I get it out to everybody as soon as possible. It's gonna get to you safe and sound too.
Good. I'm ordering mine this Friday. Not late Friday, but this Friday after I get paid. So,
Okay, well, since I know you and you've interviewed me a
yeah.
few times, I'm gonna throw some spell cards in there for you. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, just wait till you see those. Those ones aren't on sale just yet,
Okay.
because I only have 5 of them and I don't have enough spare money right now to order
Gotcha.
the next set.
Yeah.
But once I finish selling all these books, I will actually have enough to the next set of books will have spell
Good.
cards that
And
people can
and
purchase.
I love spell cards. I love being
Oh,
able to hold it. Yeah.
they're so good too, because I designed mine specifically with tabletop gamers in mind.
Okay.
So because my book uses so many, or the game uses so many d6s, A lot of the times people buy the 32 millimeter dice, the sets like or six, yeah, the 32 millimeter, the
Hmm.
little ones. So I have dice trackers on each card,
Oh,
so you can
okay.
keep track of your rounds. And there's six of them, so up to six players can put card trackers or dice on there
Hmm.
to keep track of their spells. So really, one group only needs one deck of cards unless you have more than like two or three casters.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so I tried to make it because like I said, a lot of these big companies, like they're only really in it for like all the money that they can get. And
Yeah.
while that would be nice to have separate cards, I'm like, you know what? I don't like paying all that money. I'm gonna do for one set price, they get all 140 spells in the game, plus 10 extra spells,
Yeah.
plus enough trackers for all three people to use them. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
they're so nice.
And
Yeah,
I do have some questions and some of my character concepts I'm going to run by and see how we can make these
perfect.
characters. But I have a few more questions before we get there.
Yes, please.
So, okay, first question. So you've finished Veil of the Void Reforged, and it sounds like this is your main thing, and this is what you want to be like your main job and your passion. But do you have any plans in the future to make other TTRPGs?
Uh, you know, I probably not. We have like six or seven expansions in
Uh-huh.
mind.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Like,
that's
yeah,
good. Yeah.
that's other table games, I guess. But we
Yeah.
have six expansions, and each one is building off the current lore of the previous one, so they're
Okay.
all interconnected.
Cool.
The next one, I believe I told you about it last time, Yggdrasil, which is our Norse themed
Mm-hmm.
one,
Yeah.
and that one is actually going to have a module in it as well.
Nice.
So you'll get inside an expansion, you'll get like a ton of new species, a ton of new classes, a ton of new specializations and stories. And we're introducing something called story classes in it, which are going to be
Oh,
super cool because they're like minor classes that are based kind of almost on backstories. And instead of leveling the traditional way, you get them as your character completes story milestones.
that's really
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then after that, we're going into like a fairy tale one.
Awesome.
So we're gonna have
I love fairy
space
tales.
fairies.
Yeah, that's
So
fantastic.
I have a lot of stuff planned. Oh, I also have a board game that's designed in the universe that uses a very simplified version of the tabletop game to teach you the tabletop game, but it'll stand alone as its own board game so that you can
Yeah.
bring in characters from Veil of the Void into that game or bring characters in that board game into the RPG. So
Wow. Wow.
I have a lot planned.
A lot of plans. Dang. And I
Mhm.
think it works so well that you have so many plans for Veil of the Void
Mhm.
because it's so open and you can like you said before, it can be any setting. It can be
Yeah.
fantasy, it can be it could you make it urban fantasy? Kind of like
Yeah. Actually, so if I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, you're good. No, answer my
Let me know if
question.
I will talk and talk.
Yeah.
But the session that we're hosting on Twitch every
Uh-huh.
Tuesdays now is set in a cyber fantasy, like urban fantasy with
Mhm.
like city mages that are turning the city that's kind of cyberpunkish into their spell books. And there's all these like
Okay.
warring mage gangs that are like
Yeah.
trying to vie for the city, and it's such a cool setting. So yeah, you can really do literally any setting you want. If you want more fantasy,
That's
put more fantasy. You
yeah.
want like 1920s crime drama, easy enough to set it into, especially because I added like 10 new guides on how to homebrew everything. So like
Okay.
super easy details for a GM to do everything, because I wanted to make sure, especially for newer GMs, because it can be difficult to learn systems. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I could provide as much assistance as I could. So
That's
really easy to homebrew now.
that's amazing. That's super cool. I love the idea that it can be anything because that's kind of something
Mm-hmm.
that I'm playing around with, and some of my questions are actually about creating your own TTRPG because
Nice,
it's something that I've thought of and something I feel like I'm actually getting close to where I can start playtesting now. So
nice.
yeah. So one of my questions, if you were to go back and
Mm-hmm.
with all the information you have now, what would you do differently when you started creating Veil of the Void, or just this
Uh,
this TTRPG?
so one of the biggest things I would do is condensing,
Hmm.
because learning like the ideas, we all have ideas and they can
Yeah.
go everywhere, and that's like why we start doing this. But what I've learned, at least from my like perspective, from what I've learned right now, what I would go back and change is to not use word, to actually use a formatting system. And
Yeah.
there's some cheap ones out there. Like you don't have to pay for Adobe because I
Yeah.
can't afford that. I
Yeah.
just bought my one time, editing. And I that's what I wish I would have known at the beginning is like how absolutely important layout is and how it
Gotcha.
can make your book look so much better when
Hmm.
you lay it out yourself. And that was probably like the biggest thing I learned was organization and layout.
Gotcha.
Uh, and how important they actually are and
Hmm.
how you shouldn't keep them as a secondary thought. How they
Yeah.
should be there.
Gotcha. Okay, that helps a lot because the one I'm thinking of it's only probably gonna be like a 10-page TTRPG, like
Hmm.
really really condensed, really simple, really small. Um, but that helps a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, okay,
Like I went through and reorganized all of chapter two.
yeah,
It took me almost 2 weeks
wow.
of reading through it over and over again and
Hmm.
saying, okay, how can I make it to where you don't learn about a rule early without knowing the proper rule before? So I had to
Gotcha.
go through and organize it into sections and be like, in this section, here's where this rule can go now.
Yeah,
And now that you know this rule, you can learn this rule.
yeah.
So it's
Okay,
like that little stuff is
yeah.
so nice because what I've known is after a bunch of reviewing people and seeing and doing some minor like questions with people, what
Hmm.
I noticed the most is people want to know the rules. They want to
Yes.
know them quick. They want to know how to find them, and so I made sure that they can do that. And that's what I do too. I tried to pick up a booklet yesterday to see what their rule set was, and I was flipping through the whole thing, looked through their table of contents. I'm like, where are your rules? I
Yeah,
just need to know how to roll dice.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I that's one of
Okay,
the biggest thing I can give anybody is organization and layout.
that makes
Huge.
sense. Yeah, because a lot of times when I've started a new
Hmm.
TTRPG, it's I've always had somebody to guide me, and so they know the rules, and so they're able to teach me. But that
Hmm.
totally makes sense to just have the rules present and simple. So,
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I wish I would have told myself.
yeah,
But I didn't know, you know. I mean, I
yeah,
have to self teach myself all of this. I have to self teach myself marketing and design and editing and all this stuff. So I was like, man, if only I would have actually known not to just use Word, but to actually dive into a full layout system. Like I could
yeah.
have made this look even better. So that's
Dang.
my advice.
Yeah. Do you have which editing program do you use?
So right now, I am actually using Affinity Publisher.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah,
I have that actually.
yeah, it's
So,
amazing. It's
yeah.
super easy to pick up. It works, in my personal opinion, it works better than Adobe because it's much more user friendly.
Gotcha.
And you don't have to pay $40 a month for it. It's a one time purchase.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think when I got it, it was $25.
yeah, me too. I was like, what? All
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
And it's so easy to use, and I absolutely adore it. And I like that's what I would suggest to people. Not sponsored. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I just like the fact that it's so easy to use, and it really did help me make the book look so good. So
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. That's good to know because yeah,
mhm,
I picked it up and I haven't really gotten into it, but
mhm.
I've been looking, and one of the guys that I work with, he uses it, and he makes fantastic looking just little
Yeah,
booklets and stuff. So,
yeah, it's amazing what you can
hmm,
do with it, and I use it actually because I help some other artists that I know. One of the things that, and this is completely off track, sorry,
yeah, that's
but
fine.
one
No,
of the
no worries.
things I like, one of the things I hope to do one day with this company
Hmm.
is, well, one of the reasons I titled my company SDG Interactive Publishers is because I want to one day, if the money allows, I want to help other independent companies and other independent authors and everything get off the ground
Yeah,
and give them a chance where they might not, instead of ripping them off,
yeah,
it's just help them get up and running, and eventually they can be on their own.
yeah.
So that's like a long-term goal, super in the future. But
That's a really good goal though, because I can tell you just from my I think 7 months of experience working with a smaller company, it's
mhm.
difficult. It
Oh
is
yeah,
hard to build something from nothing.
yeah.
So I think that's
So
a great goal.
yeah, I really want to just help people. Like I mean, I just like people. I think that really shows in both the book,
Mm-hmm.
and I always try to interact with people on Instagram and Twitter and
Yeah.
everything, and I try to help sponsor other people. Uh, because I don't have a huge influence right now, but the
Yeah.
influence I do have are all amazing people, and
Yes.
I know if I say, hey, let's try to help this company in some way, this small indie group, everybody's going to
Yeah.
jump on it, and it's
Yeah.
so nice to be able to use the minor amount of influence I have to help other creators,
Yeah.
uh, because I know what it's like.
Yeah.
I
And
know what
and
it's
I
like to
think
be here.
yeah, and I think that whole philosophy of kind of paying it forward from taking what's been given to you and using it and then putting it forward. I think that really it shows the type of person that you are and the success that you deserve.
Well,
So
thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, you're welcome. I
Don't worry, I'll be sending more people your way once.
oh no, thank you so much.
I post your stuff actually in
Mm-hmm.
our Discord,
Oh, you
and
do.
I do. I hope
Thank
people
you.
will check it out because I have a really good community on
Yeah.
Discord, and anytime something Veil of the Void especially comes up, they're all on it. So
Good. Good. No, I love it, and no, I've really been thinking about it recently. Is I want to start playing Veil of the Void, and so uh, I would really love to get into the community and learn as much as I can.
yeah, well, you're welcome to join
So
our Discord. I am incredibly open, so anytime you want
yeah,
to talk, and I always do this for every interviewer. I always say, hey, if you want me to host a small campaign for you, just let me know. I'm
I
always happy to host one.
I actually my current group we're like probably about in the middle of the current campaign I'm running,
Uh-huh.
but we're kind of talking about when this campaign ends, what we're going to do in the future, and so I think that
Mm-hmm.
you know having you run us a game and then I can show them how great it is. I think that would be really fun. You know.
Yeah, I would be down. Actually, I've done that for a lot of people, which is why I'm always busy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I always offer to run a campaign for some people, especially
Hmm.
people that are really interested in the game.
Yeah.
And so I'll run a campaign for them, and I'll do what I call a four shot, where I
Yeah,
run
yeah,
like
yeah.
four
That's
little
perfect.
episodes all together for
Hmm.
them. Within like a month's time or something.
Yeah,
And they get to learn the rule set. They get to see and feel just how insane the game can be, and how
yeah,
creative they can be with it. So yeah, I'm always down. You have my
yeah.
Instagram. You have everything you need to
Yeah,
contact me.
yeah. And you pretty much always message back that day. So
I try.
yeah, you do a good job with that. So I'll keep you in the loop because I'm excited and I think it's really cool what you're doing.
Well, thanks.
So
Yeah, and the good news is I got Roll20 set up with a brand new, like,
oh,
super sleek character sheet
good.
where it calculates dice for you automatically using the rule set. So all you have to do is hit one button and it rolls it for
Oh,
you.
that's beautiful. That's amazing right
Yep.
there.
I've been doing everything I can to get everything set up to make things easier for everybody.
Good. That's what I like to see. Because
Yeah.
how
Self-taught
big?
myself HTML. So just to do that.
There you go. I mean, I've taken a pro, ah, I've taken a programming class this semester, and let me tell you, it is not easy. So you learn to teach yourself HTML, like that's impressive. So
Well, I'm in this book for real.
yeah,
Like this isn't just some passion or some
yeah,
slide project for me. I want to share this game with
hmm,
everybody
yeah,
because I love it so much. I
yeah,
designed it to be fun for me, and the like just sitting at the end of a table and seeing how much people love this game, and how people like even who play D&D come and play this game and they're like, I don't want to go back to D&D anymore. Like
yeah,
I just want to keep playing this.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, it makes me feel so good. I just love like my company's all about sharing fun and joy, and that's what this game brings. So
yeah.
it feels so good.
Okay, well, hey, I think that's a perfect segue into I have three, maybe four different character ideas.
You ask whatever you want, and I'll help
Okay.
you out here.
Well, the first one's probably pretty easy. I'm just gonna give it to you pretty easy. Iron Man. How could
Oh,
I play Iron Man in Veil of the Void?
okay. So there's multiple different ways.
Okay.
It just depends. So are you trying to go more the human route, or do you want to be a literal Iron Man?
Well, I was thinking like, that's a good question. I was actually thinking about it when I wrote it down. I was like, man, I could go because I know you have a robotic race,
I do.
but I could also go human.
Yep.
But what is there a race that does the best with technology that is not like the robotic race?
So outside of them, humans are super good with technology.
Okay.
Just because their whole world almost got destroyed, and so now they live in a small little paradise that's surrounded by these arcana tech barriers,
Okay.
and they literally use the wild magic to power everything. Like
Cool.
they use the air magic that's found all throughout that place and they channel it into lightning, and then they use that lightning to power and fuel all their stuff. And they have like the best magic schools because it's one of the safest places to practice magic, because there's
Cool.
magic everywhere, so you don't
Yeah.
constantly use your own magic to cast.
That's cool. That
And
dang,
so it's a little safer.
that's awesome. Okay, so I want to be Iron Man. I want to be.
Okay.
I'll be a human. I'll just
Okay.
stick with simplicity. I'll be a human. I want to be able to fly, shoot tons of missiles, and have lasers, and like maybe a little bit of magic. Because it's like super advanced tech.
Yeah, super advanced tech. And the best part about it too is like if you don't want it to be magic, you can just make it tech. Like it's
Oh,
super
cool.
easy to
Okay.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a
But
person who's a detective and he has these goggles that
yeah.
use the recreation spell, but he doesn't have to use magic. He uses analysis to cast it.
Oh,
And so yeah, so it's
that's
really easy to
cool.
do.
That's
But
cool.
back on the subject of it, so yeah, we'd make you a human, real
Okay.
easy to do. Probably a human from the Commonwealth because that way you can be one of the nobles and have all that extra starting cash,
Mm,
and have
okay.
some good connections like Tony Stark does.
Hey,
uh,
that's perfect.
yeah, exactly. And then there's a few different ways we could do it. So probably soldier would be one of the best ways because soldiers,
Okay.
they give you like the ability to have all this advanced tech at your hands. So you even get like a rocket launcher that's built into your wrist, like a wrist launcher.
Okay. Okay.
We could make it so your weapons that you start with are actually built into your suit, and we could get you one of the vehicles that are in the game now, which is a simple mech suit, which is like
Nice.
a Iron Man suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we could get you one of those, add some weapons at the start of character creation. So instead of just a regular pistol, you could have like a beam that does the same damage as a pistol and has the same range, but it comes out of your hand like Iron Man does. So
Cool.
it'd be
Cool.
super easy. You could afford all of it at character creation, and and the best part is like as you go throughout the game, you can level up your suit and add more like advanced parts to it,
Very
more like
nice.
regeneration abilities, things like that. So,
Perfect. Okay.
and of course,
So
there's jetpacks and rocket
yeah.
boots in the
Yeah.
game, so
Yeah.
easy enough to
Yeah.
implement that.
Yeah. I assume from our conversation last time with where you can pick wings or jetpacks. Like the
Yep.
character flavored it with jetpacks. I assume it wasn't that hard to fly. So
Not really.
yeah.
Best part
Okay.
is too with the magic stuff. Sorry, I know you have other,
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
but if you wanted to go where you constantly can use it, we could just enchant your rocket boots with
Uh huh.
the drift the connection ability, which gives you the ability
Oh.
to fly. So you could just fly, which is
Yeah.
a mystic spell, so anyone can
Yeah.
use it, and you can just put it on your boots, and there you go. You got flight.
Okay, awesome. Sweet. So Iron Man is pretty easy. You already
Oh
got
yeah.
that down packed. Okay, here's a little bit different one, but I'm sure you have an answer for it. He-Man. I want to be
Oh,
He-Man. So I want to go from this like weak, maybe a kid or like a young teenager, and I have a weapon or some sort of amulet or object that helps me transform into a stronger version of myself.
okay. Yeah.
Master of the
So
universe.
Master of the Universe. Yeah, you have the power, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Uh, so that would actually be pretty easy. I mean, you could be any species for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, really, there's a lot of like I mean, if you really want to be like as buff as he gets eventually, but when you use the sword, like you could even become like a half human, half Elan or something. That way, you can get your Elan stats
Yeah.
as you like
Did
pick up the sword.
didn't you say there was a race that had four arms?
Yeah, you could be a Quarian.
Okay,
Those
yeah,
guys
yeah.
are
What
yeah.
if like there was a thing where I was a human, but then I could, when I take out the sword or whatever,
So like an
I
enchant. Okay.
I turn into a Quarian.
Yeah, yeah, easy enough to do actually. So we could give you one of the like great chain blades, or we could give you
Okay.
something like, more along his line of like a silver blade or something,
Yeah.
where we enchant that with the conceal oneself ability, but we switch it up a little bit. So costs
Oh
a few
man.
extra expertise at the beginnings, but instead of using conceal oneself, it actually transforms you into that one form, and it gives you like extra bonuses or something to your
Yeah.
ability while using it.
Yeah. Like maybe out of combat, as just like the younger version, not that strong. He doesn't have all that
Mhm.
stuff, but when I transform, that's when I get beefed up and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, you could just like that could be used for any class too,
Yep.
which is what's fun about it because a lot of times you can just mess around with stuff using expertise in this game
Okay.
and make what you want and then build your class around it. So like He-Man would probably then go total field knight, and
Yeah.
your sword would activate, and then you would just like instead of using jets to rocket power yourself across the battlefield, you just charge full
Yeah.
in there at
Yeah.
people like. So
Okay.
there's loads of way to do that one too.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I remember you talking about last time how there was this USB device that you could put into a sword to
Yes.
enchant it.
Yep.
I'm sure we could do something with that as well.
Oh yeah. And see, there's like all sorts of ways to do it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Is like if you don't like this way, then let's try this one.
Yeah. That's so cool. Okay. Next one. Um, a card caster. So somebody who
Ooh.
draws cards, and that's the ability or the spell that they cast at that time.
So we have some stuff coming out that's using that as a base class
Oh,
actually.
okay, cool.
Eventually as one
Hmm.
of the story classes, and it shouldn't actually be that long because I hope to get story classes out soon.
Cool.
And one of the story classes is called a magician, and you actually
Ah,
it's designed to be used with the spell cards that come with the
cool.
book. And
Oh,
so yeah,
that's so
so you
cool.
actually build a deck out of the spell cards,
Yeah.
and then you get to draw those spells and like lay it down in front of you, and you get to cast it. And so but outside of waiting for that,
Yeah.
you could always go the route of like, for instance, we could go the route of like the Thaumaturg, where instead of using instead of using USBs, we switch them out for a literal deck of cards, and then
Yeah.
you have every single spell that you can use, and you can only have like a set amount in there, and you can draw them and fling them around like say like a Gambit character does, and just
Yeah.
fling those left and right. See, and it all works perfectly within the rule set too. Doesn't change anything. You just flavor it differently.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. I love that. I love the idea of like, because I've been playing around with this with other things, but I love the idea of in any RPG just having a deck of cards, and that's what I use. So that's
Yeah.
just something
So,
that I've been fascinated with. I think for a
oh
couple of
yeah,
years now.
and see that's
So
what when I designed the spell cards, I was like, "Ooh, a magician class. That way,
yeah,
people
yeah,
can use the spell
yeah.
cards."
Okay. Next, I think I have two more ideas. I have one that
Okay,
just came to mind. I just want to
perfect.
be the ultimate soldier, like where I can use. I'm sure it's super easy, but where I can use both melee and I can also just use ranged weapons. You know,
Oh yeah.
a good tank, but also like a good can be good at sneaking. How would I do that?
Oh, easy enough. We literally have a soldier class.
Okay, yeah, I
Those who
assumed, but
what's
I was looking at the pictures, and it was one you just posted. I think like
the
right
adapt
before,
tech?
yes.
Ah,
And I was like,
so
dang,
cool.
that guy looks cool. So
Doesn't he? And you know what's even cooler about that is so what he's doing in that particular picture is he has this sci-fi gauntlet, and he
yeah,
stores like he pretty much consumes guns and weapons and shields and melee weapons and puts them in this gauntlet, and as a free action on his turn he can swap and materialize one of the stored weapons and use it. And the cool thing about
okay,
soldiers, like any class can use that specialization, but the cool part about soldiers is soldiers at level 1, based on what weapon you're wielding, you get additional bonuses from your cybernetics. So,
cool.
for instance, most people, in order to aim a sniper rifle, it takes their entire movement and they have to focus. Soldiers are just like,
Yeah,
so don't have to spend
makes
time.
sense. Makes
And what's
sense.
cool too is the soldier, because a lot of games don't do this. I added it to where the soldier actually gets to use shields and stuff. So as a reaction, if you're about to be hit from behind or something by
Yeah,
a melee weapon, you can use your shield to like pop up behind you and throw it behind you to block the attack, and then like swing back around.
that's
Because
cool.
shield are super cool because I changed up a lot.
Yeah,
I kept the same rules so that it's
yeah,
easy to get back into,
hmm
but I updated it a lot and I added new fun rules. So shields now, like the actual like arm shields that you can
yeah.
wield, they block 20% physical damage from incoming from the front.
Okay,
So so now like placement, like where you're standing in the battlefield, can matter for someone who's a tank. But
Wow.
soldiers are just like, nah, I can just
Yeah.
immediately spawn one behind me. Like,
Nice. That's awesome.
yeah,
Okay. I mean, I knew that would be easy one, but I was just like, what? I just love hearing you talk about it and hearing the concepts and everything.
good. I get a
So,
little excited. So,
okay, I want to be an anime protagonist where
okay,
I
easy
wield
enough. Yep.
giant swords and I shoot beams of energy and my hair grows and I transform into my final form. How do I be an anime protagonist in or actually let me explain better, a shonen protagonist
Okay, yeah, I was about to say
in yeah,
that sounds very shonen.
a
So,
shonen protagonist in Veil of the Void.
so I actually have someone who's playing like a literal anime character,
Sweet, sweet. Okay, I'm
and
glad it's going.
it's a lot. People like those.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So he power
I-
charges.
is there a screaming mechanic where the louder and longer I scream, the stronger I get?
So so that's funny that you mentioned that. I made him a custom expertise where he can channel. Yeah, he can channel a scream every round, and the longer he does it, the more powerful he becomes
Oh
up to a
my
set
gosh.
amount of levels.
Oh.
Um, and so he went what was his base? I think he went a base of the soldier, because he wanted to be able to use like really any weapon to the best ability as
Yeah.
like a shonen character usually
Exactly.
does.
Exactly.
So he went like that, and then he took the oh gosh, I think he took the archetype from the naturalist, but instead of like turning into one of the gods, he would just turn into like a Saiyan version of himself.
Dang.
so,
Okay. That's
and so
awesome.
like early on levels, he was like learning to unlock his potential, but he would
Yeah.
like scream louder, and he could charge like a Kamehameha blast in his
Yeah.
hand. He'd be like, oh, so there's loads of ways to easily like. That's the beautiful part about expertise in Veil of the Void is
Yeah.
like at character creation, you just go, I want to make something like this. Okay, cool. Here's how we can do an expertise to fit that, and then you
Hmm.
can make it flavored in your class even better. So,
Okay. 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 I have a question and then my last character idea.
okay.
So, in Dungeons and Dragons, when
Mm-hmm.
you get to higher levels of play, it's hard for the dungeon master or game master to challenge the party.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either like they stomp your monsters, or you stomp them because you put something too
Mm-hmm.
hard. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
balance it. How do you keep your players from feeling too strong, and like how do you balance encounters?
So I actually have something that I added with the Reforged update.
Oh, okay,
So I was talking
perfect.
about a lot of stuff that I added to the GM's guide.
Mm-hmm.
One of those is I have a detailed, super simplified way to make every combat. And so it's a math equation. You
Okay.
take, I have the average amount of damage that players do based on each level.
Okay.
Of course, it'll change some based
Yeah.
on what you give players, but you can just add that to the average
Yeah.
damage. And then you multiply it by the number of players, then you multiply that by the difficulty you want, and then by the amount of rounds you want the game to go on, actually, instead of
Oh.
like
Okay.
difficulty. Like, well, how long do I want this fight to be? Like, oh, I
Yeah.
want it about 10 rounds because I want this to be a long, brutal fight. And then
Yeah.
it'll give you the total HP for monsters. And then you take that
Oh.
and just quickly bring in monsters. And then there's a section that tells you the difficulty levels of monsters. And like, oh, if you really want to challenge characters that are this plus level and this many party members, introduce a challenging character. Or
Gotcha.
if you have 20 level 18 plus characters, bring in a premium monster and add that to your HP pool too. And so I
Okay.
went through and added all these explanations of how to easily build an encounter. And then I tested it and I still use it now. Like, oh yeah, there's, and the thing is a lot of times players don't level as fast as you might think. So
Yeah.
you have your HP there that you can always have. And then you just add
Gotcha.
extra HP based on how many rounds you want this fight. And then
Wow.
it's makes it super simple. I was like, oh, this is way better than what I had in the first
Yeah.
edition.
Yeah.
This is like one
Dang.
equation and then you're done.
That is so cool.
Yeah, which
Wow.
people actually have been using it to use it in D&D too. He's
Yeah.
like one of my friends who plays he DMs he plays in my session, but he DMs D&D,
Yeah.
and he's like this is so much easier than using the CR
CR.
levels
Yeah.
and stuff. He's like, I'm just gonna do this. he
Yeah.
went and tested it a few times, came back. I was like, so how'd it work? He's like, oh my gosh, it saved me so much time.
That's awesome. Okay,
And
that's
then,
good to know.
yeah, yeah, lots of ways. And then, of course, what I love about Veil of the Void is players get super cocky, and then you
Yeah.
throw that one thing, and they're like, oh, uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Stay humble.
yep,
Awesome. Okay, my last one that I could think of.
okay,
I'm sure I could think of a lot more. But these are
oh,
mainly
I'm
just
sure.
pop culture ones right now. But this is the type of stuff that I want to do when
Hey,
sometimes I don't get a chance to do all the time.
yeah,
So
yeah, whatever. And Veil of the Void is just for that. Like,
yeah,
I have a character who always loved being a pacifist, but you can never find a game to do it. And in Veil of the Void, it works effortlessly. So
that's actually something
shoot
that
me.
I that's actually something that I've thought about of like how could I be a pacifist of avoiding hurting others as much as possible. It's kind of
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind of hard in most games.
yeah. So my friend, she's actually the co-author. She's the one
Oh,
that did
cool.
all the stories before each class,
Okay.
and she's the author of Yggdrasil. She's working on that one,
Nice. Okay, cool.
which is gonna be super fun. But
Yeah.
she wanted to be a pacifist, so she chose a combat medic. And normally combat medics steal HP from adversaries and give it
Yeah.
to players. She would shoot herself with the gun and transfer her allies' HP that way. And then she would like stab herself with the healing
Yeah.
mechanics to heal herself up. And I gave her this really nifty gauntlet that could store like dart versions of the medi shots, and
Mm-hmm.
she would like shoot each of her friends with those. If she needed to in an emergency, she would steal her own HP and give it to her allies. And she
Dang.
never once ever hit an adversary in that whole game. But without her, the party would have died like 6 times over.
Wow. That's fantastic. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Okay, last one. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. How
Oh,
do I
I
make
imagine so.
a Pokemon master?
Okay,
How do I, become a Pokemon trainer in Veil of the Void?
there's a lot of ways. Going
Okay.
forward, going forward in Yggdrasil, I like shouting out for future stuff to get people
Of
excited.
course.
We have someone called a Valkyrie who literally kills and captures people, and then she can
Cool.
summon their soul, and she becomes a Pokemon master pretty much. But in Veil of the Void, like one of the easiest ways to become a like Pokemon master type character is to be either like the naturalist or the necromancer and just take capture souls and use them. But if you're trying to go like full on Pokemon, like
That's what I'm
deep
looking
into it,
for.
yeah. If you're trying to go full on into it, super easy enough to do. There are grenades in the game, right? But
Okay.
they're stun grenades.
Okay.
If you want to use that instead of a stun grenade, what you can do is create a certain expertise that will allow you to build and craft Pokeballs during your rest. And so you can only have a set number on you. You can't buy
Yeah.
them from stores, to
Yeah.
kind of balance it out.
Yeah.
But you'll be able to craft these. And then based on like what level you are, like 5, 10, 15, you'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to capture more and more challenging beasts and different types. And so you'll be able to like try to capture one, perform a check while they perform a contested check. And
Yeah.
then eventually you can become a master on the side, catching all of them. And then, if you want to flavor it to where as a necromancer, instead of summoning undead, you summon like literal just Pokemon to fight for
Yeah.
you. Like
Yeah. I don't know if
easy ways.
I don't know if I'd go that far with some actual Pokemon, but I just love the idea of being able to control like the battlefield by
Yeah.
sending out a bunch of different
Oh
monsters
yeah.
or
And,
or fiends or
and
something.
necromancer's the best for that because the base class can summon 5 monsters at the level 2.
Oh,
They can
wow, okay.
summon and maintain. Uh, and then I think if you become like a death lord or something like that, I can't remember what they're called. But they get to summon more minions, and their minions become more powerful. And while their minions are
Okay.
alive, they get more powerful, and
Yeah.
the user gets to wear shields that keep them stronger based on how many monsters they have in play. And eventually, you get to summon a challenging level Death Knight, who like
Okay.
as an action, the Death Knight can like fling you across the battlefield, and he attacks people and steals souls from them, so you can summon more minions.
Okay. That sounds fantastic.
It's a fun one. Spirit
Dang.
Commander, that's what it is.
Spirit Commander. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, man, I was convinced last time. I'm even more convinced now. There's just,
Nice.
you can do anything in Veil of the Void.
Yep. And I have yet to be proven wrong. You can
Yeah.
always do anything in Bale of the Void, and I've heard some
I'll
weird things.
yeah, I'll keep thinking of something, of something.
Don't worry, I've heard some really weird stuff
Oh,
that
I'm sure you have.
I'm
If
like, oh
you
yeah, I can still make this work.
give me a second, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, yeah. And then,
Awesome.
the best part about it is when you make, like, one of the reasons I love expertise in this game in
Mhm.
particular, and all that good stuff is it gets the GM to work with the player really well. And so
Yeah,
you guys get to be like, okay, let's make your perfect character
yeah,
and let's see exactly how we want to do it. And then it's like, oh, there's rules to do it. Okay.
yeah. That's awesome because yeah, that's one thing that I love D&D. It's my favorite thing ever, but that's one thing that I feel is lacking is it's you have to go
Mm-hmm.
through hoops or you have to ask the dungeon master for
Yep.
things or you have to find ways to bend things and multi-class and you can't
Yep.
be able to do it at level 1 or level 2 or level 3 and so
Yeah.
that's one thing I'm really glad that you have it seems like you've mastered or at least you're on your way to mastering how to do this in your game.
Yeah,
So
pretty much. And the good thing is it's actually just really easy to do.
yeah,
like I mean, I've been doing it for a while,
yeah,
and it'll be a little intimidating for new people at first, but like once you kind of learn how to do it, and I always tell new GMs, I'm like, there's three things you need to read. One of those is chapter 2, one is chapter 3, and the second is chapter 8. And once you read all three of those, because they're not very long, once you
yeah.
read all three of them, you'll know exactly how to run the game and exactly how to homebrew it, and then you'll get to do it as you go. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, this
Well,
game's all about customization because
yeah,
that's what I love. I
that yeah that
love.
that's what I love too. So I'm glad that you've created this thing that can do that.
Yeah, because I always noticed how hard it was to homebrew in other systems. I was
Yeah,
like, it shouldn't be this hard. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
so I made it this way.
There you go. Well, Trevor, that is all I have for tonight for this time. But what do you want to shout out? What do you want to plug at the end?
All right. So the biggest thing is yes, the books are on sale, and I have lots of them. So go buy. The best way to get them is our website www.sdgcreatives.com, and that's like S is in Sam, D is in dog, G is in green. Creatives on there. The store page is right there. You can also spend time learning about every class and species on there. And then, of course, there's links to all of our Twitter,
Yeah,
Instagram, Twitch, so everybody can start watching us on Tuesday nights. But yeah, the website is the best place to go to learn
good.
all about it. So
Awesome. And all your links they will be in the description. I will have them all there so
awesome.
that everyone can everyone that's going to watch this can look at it and see it. So,
Yeah. Oh, and this I was going to do just for you because I've been planning it today.
oh,
So if you're listeners and watchers and everybody go to our website and use the code thrift THIRFT5, they'll get 5% discount on the book. So
oh shoot. I'm going to
yeah,
tell everybody about that.
yeah. So if they use thrift 5, they'll get a discount on the book
Ah,
when they go purchase it. So
I have my first discount code.
you do.
Woo! That's so cool. That feels
So
really cool.
yeah, glad you said something because I was gonna forget. I was like, dang it, I made that
No,
just for him.
that's awesome. Thank you so much. That like
Yeah.
that right there. That's fantastic, dude. You're the best, man.
Aw.
You're like the coolest creator of TTRPGs I've ever met. I mean, other than my
Oh,
Dungeon
that
Forge
means a
friends,
lot.
they're awesome. They're really great guys. They also believe in fun and like being fair. But like, aside from D&D, you're the best creator I've ever met.
Oh well, thank you, man. That means a lot because
Hmm.
I really do try to just have fun and care about other
No,
people. So,
no,
but yeah, don't forget, people. Thrift 5 that gives you
Thr-
discounts on the PDF and the book. So
Thrift 5. I will see
yeah.
if I edit something right here. If I don't, that's because I'm lazy. But Thrift 5. Awesome.
But yeah,
Well, Trevor, thank you so much again. It's always a delight talking to you, and I definitely I'm gonna try and show up at your stream, and I will definitely let you know if my party, if my group, if we're available for a game, because it would be truly amazing to get it from the creator.
I know it'd be a lot of fun. Most of the people that I hosted for quite enjoy when I get to
Yeah,
host it for him. So,
that'd be awesome. Sweet.
yep,
Well, Trevor, thank you again for everything. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be ordering that book once I get paid, and I'm excited to get it.
perfect. Well, I will ship it out to you once I get that purchase. I try to ship everything the
Yeah,
next day, so
good.
you'll get it.
Good. Awesome. Thank you so much. Well,
Yeah.
have a great night. Good luck with everything, and you're awesome.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me. I always enjoy being here. So.
You're welcome. Okay, I'll see you later, man. Bye.